Good morning. So today is this. It's sorry, apologies. That's probably a really loud laugh. It's one of those days where nothing is going on. You can't see shit. No matter, that's like the darkest it's letting me go. Oh, and then I have this malfunction again. I don't know what's going on. There's something. The last few days, especially days like this, there's a reason why this is happening, and that's because there's some kind of event or situation happening that we're not allowed to see, or that it would just freak people out. So we get days like this where it's overcast and it looks like it's cloudy, but there isn't. It's not cloudy. There's not a cloud in sight. There hasn't been a cloud in sight for ages. Now maybe there's going to start being some clouds now. I need to turn the other layer back on. I have no idea what's just happened. Oh, did I just click something? Did I just do that? Oh. There you go. So at the moment, it's the perfect day to be experimenting anyway. So I've got my isometric grid out. I'm not going to do it for long because it gets boring after a while, but you can kind of see through the contours exposed by the combination of adjusting the settings and applying the concert filter effect. So you're getting a much more exaggerated idea lines in. So it's days like these where it's like you have to kind of imagine, or rather just follow what you're seeing with no judgment and let it tell you the story it wants to tell you, you know? There are things moving around up there, various shapes that look very interesting. We could speculate on those shapes, but I think it's probably more interesting that we just let everybody have their let people make their own minds up, work it out for themselves, choose what you want to see. I've been thinking about a few things. Recently. I was thinking about the situation regarding the flat Earth paradise guy, Devin G. I was thinking to myself, okay, so I really ought to follow my own advice, you know, like to get my own house in order. And I don't think anyone can really say their house is in any complete form of order, so to speak. You know, we're constantly growing and changing and learning from our experiences. So when is our house ever going to be in order? But I don't know. I've got to be balanced about this too, and admit that there was a certain aspect of Pot Kettle Black, to a degree, I suppose, you know, in that respect. I don't feel great that I took that time because even I just think that what he was saying and what he's going through, it's interesting to observe and note, but it's also dangerous when it's so public, particularly when it seems that he's trying to encourage an idea but may not necessarily be the truth, or at least, you know, it seems to be more of a reaction or an impulse rather than, you know, I don't know, it really does depend. Saying that though, I don't disagree with what I said. I do think his ego has gone a little bit OTT. I don't know what his situation is now. I've decided to unsubscribe. I think I have, or if I haven't, that's what I've decided anyway, and that's what I'll probably do the next time I see one of his videos pop up. I'm not interested in. I don't need someone else telling me what to believe in. I think I can discern a lot of stuff for myself. Although it's always interesting to hear information from people who have done a lot of work. You know, these people pave the way for the rest of us. They take the things they learn and they put it into a more digestible format. Not all of us are great at reading. Yes, I can read, but I am also quite slow at reading. It takes me quite a while, and I usually end up having multiple books started but never finished. Pardon me. I realised I hadn't taken my medication. Vitamins. Just sitting there ready. So yeah, I don't know what. Back to the real issues, the real things, the things that matter, rather than policing each other's egos and policing each other, which is kind of what we're still doing to a certain degree. I think the point is we're meant to be responsible for ourselves, right? It's not. We shouldn't be taking it as our mission to police each other, because it's not our responsibility to do that for someone else. They have to do it for themselves. And that's the aspect, I think, of our maturity that needs to grow up a little bit more, you know? The important thing is this stuff. As boring or mundane as it may appear to be, I assure you it is not as boring and mundane as it appears to be. It's I don't think it's boring or mundane. Anyway, I mean, each to his own. This just so happens to be an area of interest and focus for me right now. I was kind of thinking about actually giving it a break. Because as of today, YouTube are removing the function to time-lapse and various and whatever else. I mean, that's what I used to be honest, just the time-lapse feature. They're removing everything but the trim and the blur feature. So I'm kind of a bit stuck now because I can't complete a lot of the stuff that I had hanging around in my thing. So the only thing I can do now is just release the stuff that I've got, the time lapses I've done, regardless of how long they are, and just leave them to be seen. You know, what I wanted to present with the entire series was the opportunity to experience it in real time, but also to get a different idea of time and scale. That there is a scale by which we experience these things, and in turn that scale of time actually governs our perception of what's happening. But then if you were to speed it up to a planetary scale of time, things are just passing by as if it's nothing, you get a very different picture. I have to tell you, since I started, just before I started recording, something happened, and not to me, I mean out there, and suddenly the birds, loads of birds just went flying off, and they were all going in different directions at one point. They're getting a little bit lost, and it occurred to me, now sometimes when I have different perspectives on this, so sometimes I will look at it and it looks as though what I'm seeing is the perspective of Earth as a like POV type, you know, point of perspective, whatever it means, and we are literally looking through the eyes of Earth, and through those eyes we are seeing these other landscapes which are adjusting and changing as we move around. It's almost like Earth is a spaceship, and it's actually picking and choosing which direction it wants to go in, and changing its mind, or suddenly going off to the left, or veering to the right, or, you know, as if it was the cockpit or a windscreen that I'm looking at and I'm driving it. That kind of situation. And what it is it's like, it's almost as if it's flying around these huge kind of structures, massive structures, massive landscapes, stuff I've never seen or couldn't possibly begin to imagine. But after a while it seems to dissolve into a landscape, and we're flying around this landscape. What does this mean? what is it that I'm looking at? So now I'm going to change it back to normal. Let's just turn this bit off. So now we can start seeing clouds appearing, or at least what give the impressions they're clouds. But there is a definite see, I kind of treat it like Photoshop. So I've got a couple of layers here. I've got the Logitech camera, and then I've got CamTwist as well, which utilizes iGlasses. I've actually removed one of the layers because it wasn't necessary. It was actually, I think ultimately the change was so minimal that it wasn't necessary. I needed the resources more. But you can start seeing these shapes. Now I've increased the gamma, or decreased, whatever. So I mean, we're just going to be looking at silhouettes here, really. So this is why I'm saying speculate, because we don't really know what they are. I mean, if we had some clouds and more lighting effects, we'd probably have a better chance of working out what some of these things look like. But it's almost like there's a shroud here. There's a deliberate shroud or muddiness. I've taken the white balance off, and I prefer it without the white balance myself. I feel that it gives you access to a more diverse, or at least a broader scope of the and you can start making adjustments, even with just the white balance alone, which is what I'm doing at the moment. This is the hottest end of the white balance. Well, I don't know if it's the hottest, actually. It depends how you look at it. It's the yellow end. Well, we're going for the infrared. Okay, if we go over here, ultraviolet. Look at that. Did you just see that? Well, it wasn't just because I was changing the... This is the thing. These things happen, and I'm making adjustments. Right, and people just think, oh, it's just because he's making an adjustment or something. I'm thinking, no, this is not because of that at all. The things would still be happening regardless. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's one thing to see. That's why I was talking about. I mean, sorry, I am really jumping from topic to topic here. I apologise. I'm still trying to wake up. I might sound awake, but my brain's kind of actually ahead of my body. It's interesting because there's lots of red. The colour, even with the white balance on, which just is disgusting, it just looks, when you put the white balance on, it doesn't even look natural. That's the problem. So I take it off, and the automatic default is that. After you take it off, so it will go to what it determines is the white balance, but then it will switch off, and then it will go to this. So I just leave it like that. I believe that's what the real colour is. If you were to leave it the fuck alone, try not to. So I don't know what that is, because whatever that is, it seems connected to it's like once again there's this I don't know how do you want to look at it today? Shall we look at it as the Vault of God? So if we can look at it as the Vault of God, we may as well say that's the surface. Let me start that again. I don't know what I was thinking. You can even hear. Listen to this. Where's the plane? Where is the plane? There isn't any cloud. There's no cloud cover. Where could the plane be? What are you telling me? It's up there, is it? You know? It's just ridiculous. Doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like the noise of a plane. It actually seems like it was more the fact that this rather large, light being seems to have descended from nowhere. And I don't know, it's moving about. I think there's more to it than that, though. There's a lot more to it there. You have to try and anyway. So I've brought the volume down on that, and I'm kind of wondering what that noise is now too. Listen. It's the thing, all these different noises, and there's no real connecting them. You know? We hear these noises all the freaking time, and we're not asking them. And can you see this? It's kind of purpley. Well, they're contours anyway. Is the Gamma 2. What else are you going to do on a day like this? I mean, I think it's going to rain soon, isn't it? Wednesday. Oh no, apparently it's going to get sunny a little bit later on. A few hours. sometimes you've got to think, are these noises just motorbikes, motorcycles going by? And you think to yourself, really? That was a motorcycle? No. Sounds like it's coming from up there. Doesn't sound like it's coming from around here at all. I think it sounds like there's some kind of electrostatic, some intense electromagnetic discharge occurring. But if you notice, some very strange shapes, quite rocky. I'm trying to work out if it's us moving or if it's if it's them moving or what. And then I realised, oh my god, that's part of the original problem in the first place. You know, that's why we couldn't agree on whether it was flat or round or blah blah blah. And then I realised, okay, well, I can't seem to. There's no going anywhere. There's no going anywhere in that debate. So I guess the best thing to do is just to keep looking and try and work it out, or at least just collect information, collect data, which is what I'm doing. Yeah, granted, I'm playing with it and making adjustments all the time, but I'm not doing anything that's detracting from the image. I'm trying to enhance it, not take away. And occasionally I'd fall asleep, and if I fall asleep like I did yesterday, and then sometimes if the camera decides it's going to have one of its exposure blowouts and starts flickering for God knows how long, I'm sorry, I apologise if that was the case, because I usually, if it goes on for longer than a minute or two, then you can assume that I'm either away, or you can assume I'm away from the keyboard. But you can notice what I love about this particular. Okay, we can't see very much, but the colour contours, the light contours, all of these different aspects give something away. You know, there's this. You can see it right here. This purple kind of line that seems to be there all the time. I remember when I first started doing this with the old camera, and I kept seeing these lines. It looked like cracks. Okay. And it's kind of, wasn't that odd? But why are they there though? You know, it didn't make any sense, because some days they would be stronger than other days. And I thought, well, I mean, if they're an indicator that the camera, the lens is damaged inside, then pretty screwed. But then I started to see it on this, and occasionally it would crop up. And so I kind of thought, wow, maybe that is a crack of what some would call the firmament. I have to apologise, I'm not paying attention. I haven't loaded up the live dashboard this morning because I wasn't really intending to. Wasn't actually intending to record today, but then I saw a few, in inverted commas, birds flying over in unison. Saw the see, I know if they're real birds because they don't tend to have this quality of their shadow in front of them as they fly, which is something I've noticed in a lot of my videos. And at first I thought it was a side effect of the concert effect, and then I realised even without the concert effect, it was I was seeing it. So then there was only two options: either the camera is broken, or this stuff is real. Oh, well, whatever your version of real you want to believe in. And so then I've had to keep an eye on it, make sure, but it doesn't happen with every bird. It doesn't happen with every bird. No, multiple times it has occurred, on and off, with different species, whatever. It's only certain birds that seem to be able to project a freaking shadow ahead of them. I'm just drawn all over this stuff right now, I'm sorry. It's almost like you can see ancient architecture right there, giant megaliths. What happens if we are literally surrounded by a giant ice wall? I mean, that's what they flat earthers believe in, right? What if there is also a giant wall in the middle as well, you know, that we don't actually see it, but judging that this is pointing in the northeast, I think it's very possible. That's another way of looking at it. I mean, there are so many different ways of looking at this stuff. Maybe it's not an ice wall, maybe it's a freaking castle. Or maybe it's a landscape opening out before us. Maybe we're actually inside of something. Maybe the physics of our reality aren't quite what we thought they were. Maybe we're actually inside somewhere. And that is the exit. Who knows? I really like these little thought experiments though. I mean, they keep me on my toes anyway. And that's part of the reason why I can't commit to certain ideas, because there's too many overlaps with so many things. So many things seem to be simultaneously correct and incorrect at the same time. You know? Like, so my way of doing it is, well, it's either all correct, all of these things are real, and it's just a case of trying to understand how they fit into the dynamics of this reality, or none of it's real, and that it's all just a fucking illusion. It's just a computer program. Those are really the only things two valid aspects. I mean, they are so broad in their implications, you know. So you could have any other model within that model. Look at these really colourful. Because this is the thing. Normally, I'm seeing bulges. But this is a light source. One would say it's the sun, right? Doesn't freaking look like it. In the real world, without the special effects camera, does it look like there's a sun to you? So this sun, our suns, this is our sun. It must be a very, very low ebb right now. And I'm doing it at size 4 instead. You know how I actually saw something. You know how they fly in? See, it's not just the planes that fly in twos. It's also birds. There's another thing I've worked out as well. So I can tell when a plane is fake and when it's real. And it's very simple, and it kind of dawned on me the other day. So you know when you take a photograph of a screen, and because the photograph, the shutter is at a different, because the screen is updating, whatever, however megahertz or gigahertz cycles it's doing, it's at a different frequency and frame rate to. You can't get more straight edged and geometric, can you really? Oh look, here's our cube sun. Oh, there it is. Just put it in place. That's not where it should be. What's that meant to be? Is that meant to look like the sun? No, that's not the sun. The sun, this time of day, would be around here, I think. So the sun should be around there. Well, unless we're... or might be there. I mean, that's kind of where it is, because by 11 it's out of the picture. So if that's a light source, and you've got this cloud, as emitting a light source. Interesting, anyway. So I just follow the so there's obviously some roundish thing. Is that it? What's that? There it is. Can you see it? Oh man. So there's like a purple. It's a different shade to the rest of the screen. Comes down. Oh, they're trying to distract me. Now imagine what you're looking at right now. It's like canyons or a series of valleys or mountains or whatever. Oh, hang on, what am I doing here? Just going to go for the detail. All I want to do is just get the area where, roughly where this purple colouring differs. Oh look, there's something else coming now. Look. I don't know what that is. It's the whole area. Maybe I should look at my live thing. Maybe people might want to say something. Make a suggestion. But these shapes, and they change a lot. That's why I'm saying it's hot. Look, oh come on. These shapes change a lot. Now they change a lot for a lot of different reasons, but you can almost see, you can see these shapes being inferred. I mean, it's incredible. I would almost say they're like ghost ships or something, but I don't think that they're ghosts. I think they are real objects, somehow cloaked or just on the edge of our perception. It's almost like there's a luminous kind of purpley colour, very different to the rest of it, you know. I guess it'd be more green there, but it's a different thing altogether. With the blues, I bet if I was to start seeing different shapes depending on the tone you're perceiving it through. What does that look like? It looks like I don't know what that looks like. It looks like a mountain ridge. A series of mountains, or and then you've got this. There it is again. It's still there. It's still there. You can see it. The sharp edges here. Sorry, I just got slipped there. Almost like they're splintered off. It looks like a ruin. It looks ruined. Like a ruined building. Or ruins. Like something fell down. Well, what place is that? What place is that out there? How would we get to it? If this was a like a, I don't know, an infinite plane, and our perception of things was manipulated, so we didn't realise actually what we're seeing here are just the very distant and misty peaks of mountains, valleys, and whatever. You know? What is the world outside of Earth meant to be like? How does this work? Oh shit. It's changing. So I bet if I was to then make an adjustment, see, yeah, they're still there. You can almost see it. So now I'm gonna try and move it to the middle. Adjust it accordingly. Try and capture some of this detail somehow. I'm not very good at it. This is what I loved. It doesn't look. It looks like wreckage or building. I swear I put together just saw some pillars just then, like that. This thing's moving, whatever it is, or we're moving, or it's moving, so it's making it quite difficult to. Look at that. What are we seeing here? People would just think, oh, I must be nuts or something, but I'm not nuts. I really am not. Pretty sane, quite balanced individual. maybe a little bit prone to some magical thinking, but you know what? That's just me developing my own understanding of things. It might not be according to what the norm is. Looks like. What is that? What are you showing me, guys? What are you trying to show me? Can't work this out. Times like so much detail is visible. Do you know what it looks like? Possibly. Could it be a tree? A giant tree? You know? Right, now bring it forward to yellow, go to red. Looks summer, does. Why would it be there? It's summer. Maybe they've rejoined, maybe they've merged. There's these almost like really fine lines. I'm really bad. This is quick. Really fine lines. This is the best I can do with what I've got, unfortunately. But it's just to indicate where I'm seeing them. I'm just going to turn it on, turn that, switch it off for a second. Because I'm. Should try and save them more often, I guess. Let's clear this now. I kind of did, so it was about a year ago, wasn't it? So we had that eclipse. don't the birds know by now? They should really find a nice, comfortable place that they can stay in all year round and just brave out the worst of it. You know? I think general, all year round comfort is perhaps more important than maintaining this. I don't know. I'm just thinking, if birds have to do this flying around every year thing, don't they get tired of it? Sorry, don't they get tired of it? Just doesn't really make much sense to keep doing that. Why didn't they just come to England? Come to England. The weather's tolerable. To a degree. I mean, quite literally as well. To a degree. Oh dear. It's a very bad joke. Did we get to ignite the sun? I don't really know what the hell's going on. I wouldn't want to pretend to. Sometimes I think I do, but then something comes along and kind of makes me doubt. And I think that's the point, though, isn't it? If there is any shred of doubt, then you're going to be in confusion, because you doubt everything. And not everything's meant to be doubted, and not everything's meant to be believed. And oh well. We're like, how do you work this shit out? I don't know. Really the type of person that likes to rely on other people. So, if we go by the way that light behaves, okay, so when all of these things fluctuate and create more dramatic shapes, we can rest assured, hey, what's that? We can rest assured that there is obviously some major flashes going on up there. Some major explosions or light pulses or something. For some reason we're not being allowed to see it. Yet we can see contours and outlines of things. Like giant cats and stuff. Like this thing here looks like a giant cat. Could be a dragon maybe, who knows? Or maybe they've worked out a way to too late, it's gone this way. It's moving. Ah, look, hang on. So it's kind of like there we go. It's focused, refocused again. What's it doing? So we then need to work out its points of perspective. Ish. terrible. The asymmetric grid might help at the moment, maybe. This is kind of almost like it's like this almost. This building thing here. There you go. That's where the sun should be. I reckon we would have seen 2 suns today. We've had our view spoiled. Good. Listen to the ambulance. Catch up with some Martins. It's just the weekly Wednesday bullshit test.